You know, it's funny, you mentioned you're really focusing, like dialing in on the arm swing for hitting lately.
Yeah, it's been on my mind.
And it really strikes me that, okay, it's one of the first things you learn in volleyball, right?
Absolutely.
But actually mastering it, that seems to be what, separates the good hitters from the really great ones.
Exactly. It's way beyond just the basic motion.
Yeah, it's not just going through the motions. It's understanding the why behind every little part of it.
Precisely.
So that's really what we want to dig into today. Forget just saying high reach and wrist snap for a second. We're going to look at the actual principles that make those things work, make them powerful.
Absolutely. It's easy to just see it as like a simple sequence.
Yep.
Arm back, arm forward, hit.
Right.
But when you place it in the whole context of volleyball, how skills are learned, coaching philosophies, all that, that's when you really get why it's so fundamental. We're aiming to go deeper than just the mechanics you see on the surface.
Okay, cool. So let's unpack this. For this deep dive, we've pulled from, well, a bunch of different places. Things like coaching guides, ideas about long-term athlete development, even thinking about how, like, the rules themselves kind of push you towards good technique.
Yeah, implicitly.
We're not going to list every document, obviously, but
Yeah.
just so you know, this understanding isn't just us guessing. It's grounded in some pretty established volleyball thinking.
And using that foundation, our goal here really is to give you a solid, kind of concise grasp of the arm swing.
Right.
We'll break down the key parts, look at why they're important in the bigger picture of training and actually playing. We're hoping for some of those like aha moments for you, things you can actually use.
Perfect. So let's jump right in. The main idea, the one that just keeps coming up everywhere, is power. Generating power.
Yeah, sounds basic maybe.
Maybe, but the arm swing truly is the engine room, isn't it? For hitting that ball hard.
It really is.
Yeah.
If you think about the whole offensive sequence,
The pass, set, hit combo.
exactly that. Pass, set, attack. That attack, the hit, that's usually the end point of that sequence. And a good hit, driven by a really efficient, powerful arm swing, that's how you turn the setup into points.
Puts the pressure on the other team's defense.
Totally. It's the sharp end of the spear, so to speak, keeping the ball in play offensively.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting, I think. When you start breaking down the actual movements in the swing.
Yeah, the components.
Let's start right at the beginning.
Great.
The high reach. Why is that so important, getting that hitting arm way up high?
Well, what's really key there is how that high contact point directly affects both your power and your control.
Okay.
By reaching up as high as you possibly can when you make contact,
Right.
the hitter gets the best possible angle to drive the ball downwards,
Yeah.
sharply downwards.
Okay, so a steeper angle.
Exactly. And that steeper angle, well, makes the ball much tougher to dig, obviously.
Sure.
But it can also limit what the blockers can do, maybe forces them into less ideal positions.
That makes a ton of sense. So it's not just being tall, it's using your reach to create a tougher shot for the defense.
Precisely.
Now, okay, getting the arm up is one thing, but it's not just being up there, it's the speed, right? That rapid acceleration of the arm.
Oh, absolutely critical. Generating maximum force isn't just about, how much muscle you have.
Right.
It's fundamentally about how quickly you can swing your arm through that hitting motion.
So velocity.
Exactly. That speed, that acceleration,
Make that
lets you transfer more energy to the ball right at impact, which means higher ball speed, more power.
Like cracking a whip, kind of.
That's a great analogy, yeah. The speed at the very end is what creates the force.
Okay. And that leads us right to the moment of contact. You mentioned it with the high reach, but let's focus just on that contact point itself. Why is hitting it at that highest possible point so vital?
Well, think about the court geometry. Hitting the ball at its peak, essentially.
Right at the top of your reach.
Yeah. It gives the attacker the biggest possible area to hit into, especially downwards.
Maximizes your options.
It maximizes the chance for a really difficult shot to defend. You're basically taking that good set and creating the best possible angle to attack the defense's weaknesses.
Okay, got it. High reach, fast acceleration, high contact. Now, what about the wrist snap? Right at contact. Seems like such a small detail.
It does seem small, yeah, but that wrist snap is actually like a key multiplier for both power and precision.
Really? How so?
Well, that quick flexion, snapping the wrist forward just as you hit the ball,
Yeah.
that can add significant extra velocity, like a final little burst of speed.
Okay.
And maybe just as importantly, it allows the hitter to really fine-tune the direction.
Ah, So steering the ball.
Exactly. It opens up hitting sharp down the line or cutting across court. You can even use it to add topspin, making the ball drop faster, or other spins that make it move unpredictably for the defenders.
Adds a whole other layer of control then.
Definitely. Power and control from that one little movement.
And then the follow-through. The full arm extension after contact. It looks like a natural finish, but is there a specific reason, biomechanically, why extending fully matters?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That full extension is crucial for maximizing your reach,
Yeah.
obviously.
Getting every inch.
Right. And also ensuring the most complete transfer of power. Think about like a golf swing or hitting a baseball.
The follow-through is key there, too.
Exactly. By extending the arm fully, you complete the kinetic chain, that whole sequence of body movements building up force.
Okay.
It ensures all the energy you generated from your legs, core, shoulder,
Yeah.
it all goes through the arm and into the ball, effectively. And it makes sure you contact the ball as high and as far out in front as you can.
So putting it all together. High reach, speed, high contact, wrist snap, full extension.
That's the package.
Okay, so we've kind of dissected the swing itself. How does learning this, mastering this, fit into like a player's overall journey in volleyball?
This is where you start seeing connections to things like long-term athlete development or LTAD models. Developing that proper arm swing technique is really a cornerstone of what they call the learning to train phase.
Learning to train.
Yeah, that stage is all about building the fundamental skills of the sport, getting the arm swing right early on. That gives players the foundation they need to move on to more complex stuff later, advanced tactics, higher competition.
Makes sense. You need those basic building blocks first, right? Before you can build anything more complicated.
Exactly right. And within that learning to train time, individual practice is just massive.
Getting the reps in.
Get in the reps, but also consciously thinking about it. Players need to figure out, okay, where's my swing a bit weak? And then just drill it. Repetition to refine those movements.
Yeah.
Even simple things like hitting against a wall. Sounds basic, but it's great for developing that arm control, that consistent contact, which, underpins the whole swing.
Right. Consistency is huge. Okay, shifting gears a bit, what about the coaches? What's their job in helping players develop this really important technique?
Well, the coach's first job, really, is clear instruction. Breaking down the swing into those parts we talked about: reach, speed, contact, snap, follow through.
Making it understandable.
Yeah, and communicating it in a way that actually connects with each player. Because not everyone learns the same way.
True. But it's more than just telling them, it's about creating the right practice environment.
Oh, absolutely. What's really key is how the coach's role changes during practice.
How so?
Well, they might start with instruction, maybe some demos, but the focus needs to shift pretty quickly to designing drills where the players get tons of reps, high volume.
Less talking, more doing.
Kind of, yeah. The drills need to be set up so the players are the ones hitting the ball constantly. That's how they learn best, by doing. The coach then becomes more of a facilitator.
Observing, giving feedback.
Exactly. Observing, providing specific targeted feedback when needed, rather than just demonstrating over and over.
So let the players play, essentially, but guide them.
That's a good way to put it. And crucially, recognizing that different athletes need different things. Good coaching means tailoring the advice, the cues, to each player's specific needs and where they are in their development with the swing.
That individualized approach.
Yeah. What makes sense, what clicks for one player might just confuse another.
And I guess using drills that feel more like a real game can help too, to reinforce the technique.
Oh, definitely. Drills that simulate game flow, like continuous serve-receive, where you immediately transition to attacking.
Right, those fast-paced ones.
Yeah. Those drills inherently require a good arm swing to work well. The main point might be transition speed or decision-making, but you can't succeed in that drill without a solid, efficient hit. So it reinforces the technique in context.
Okay, we've hit the technique, the learning, the coaching. How does the arm swing connect to an athlete's actual physical development? Strength, power, that stuff.
Well, looking at the bigger picture of athletic growth, that powerful arm swing is directly tied to developing physical qualities like power.
Which is strength plus speed, right?
Yeah, exactly. Strength combined with speed. And those physical abilities become more and more important as players get older, move into later stages of development, like training to train and beyond in the LTAD model.
So you build the technique foundation first, and then the physical training kind of amplifies it as the athlete gets stronger and faster.
That's a great way to think about it. And it's really important to mention age-appropriate strength and conditioning here.
Can't just throw weights at kids.
No, definitely not. But as athletes mature, specific, targeted exercises can strengthen the muscles used in the arm swing, shoulders, core, back. This helps them generate more force, sure, but also helps them maintain the correct technique even when they're getting tired late in the match.
Endurance for technique. Interesting. Okay, so a good arm swing means power. But you mentioned control earlier, too. How does it play into the tactical side, like game strategy?
Yeah, this brings in versatility. A really well-honed arm swing gives a hitter a much wider arsenal of shots.
They're not just a one-trick pony.
Exactly. They're not stuck just banging the ball hard in one spot. They can learn to hit different angles, effectively, sharp line, deep cross-court. And they can mix in softer shots, like roll shots or tips, but with accuracy.
Makes the offense way less predictable.
Hugely less predictable.
Yeah.
It makes it much, much harder for the defense to read what's coming and set up their block or defense. Really expands the team's offensive options.
Keeps the defense guessing.
Constantly. And also, thinking about game flow again, the arm swing is vital in that transition moment, from defense to offense.
After a good dig.
Yeah. Your team makes a great dig, gets the ball up. The hitter needs to quickly get in position and use a good, controlled, powerful swing to turn that defensive play into a scoring chance. It's essential for capitalizing on those opportunities.
Right, converting defense into offense makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, wow, we've covered a lot there. Let's try and summarize. What are the absolute key takeaways for an effective arm swing?
Yeah, okay. So, in a nutshell, you need that high reach to get the best angle and hitting window. Then, rapid arm acceleration to generate force.
Speed.
Speed. Contacting the ball at the highest possible point you can manage to drive it down.
Eye contact.
Then that purposeful wrist snap right at contact adds power and direction.
Snap.
And finally, the full arm extension, the follow-through for maximum reach and complete power transfer.
Reach, speed, contact, snap, extension.
That's it. They all work together. It's a system. Each part contributes to that powerful, controlled hit.
And hopefully, by understanding these different pieces and how they connect, whether you're a player trying to get better, a coach working with a team, or even just someone who loves watching volleyball, you're now better equipped to really see what's going on, to analyze and appreciate the art and science behind a great hit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can start to see how these little technical details aren't so little. They're actually fundamental to the big picture, the strategies, the flow of the game.
So here's a final thought to chew on. Mastering this one movement, the arm swing, which seems so basic, right? It isn't just about hitting harder. It's about unlocking maybe a deeper understanding of efficiency and control and even tactical options in the whole game. Makes you wonder what other basic techniques in any sport or even just everyday actions might hold that same kind of depth if we really looked closely.
That's a great question. And as you think about that, maybe consider how the principles we talked about, maximizing reach, generating speed, using precise movements for control, how those might show up in other things you do or are interested in. Often those core biomechanical ideas, they echo across lots of different activities.